Let's do this.
Just watch. Merry Christmas.
Duncan, I thought I'd be home for dinner an hour ago. Welcome to Highlander Rewatch, the podcast where each and every week we talk about another facet of the Highlander universe. I'm one of your rewatchers. I'm Keith.
This is Kyle.
This is Eamon.
So the thing that's so baffling about that line is we did literally just see him eat dinner. So like,
Right.
Is he going to another murder mystery party? What is he doing?
I like that murder mystery party. Dinner theater.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bread.
Ooh.
All the bread you can eat.
All the bread. Carbo.
You know what's funny? I never even thought about that like that line doesn't make any sense. He really did eat. Like, that's crazy. All right. Well,
Did he really eat though? He just had some vino.
oh, that's right.
He
So
got
he is-
blood all over the
And
food.
there's blood all over the food. Yeah, that's no good. All right.
I mean, an immortal, they can't get like communicable blood diseases, so he could just eat the bloody food.
That's
Sure.
true. Just get in there. No reason not to.
Yeah, I mean, I
You
don't know.
get a communicable blood disease.
Yeah.
That's literally
that's the only reason.
I could
that
see
I
this
would
movie
eat bloody
doing
food.
that.
Like him just biting into a bloody roll.
Right, and
Yeah.
confused audience members would be like, "Why is he eating blood?" And then like nerdy Highlander people are like, "Oh, they don't explain it.
He's a Dracula.
Yeah, they don't explain it in the movie, but immortals can't get like blood diseases." It's like, oh, okay, another confusing part of this movie.
I'm sure we discussed this before. Can they get the blood diseases, but then it gets healed?
Well, Duncan does say I could get sick or just could die from it.
Yeah, that's
There we
true.
go.
Those are words he says.
I
And
think
he
we all
says it
deserve a
just like
medal
that.
for for actually talking about Highlander in the first minute of this podcast. So
That's
Yeah.
true. Our listeners are probably like, "What's wrong with the guys?"
right,
Eamon's
why aren't they talking
haircut
about
took away
Batman or
all of-
something?
All of his magic.
That's true. I'm like Samson from the Bible.
It's true.
I'm weak and now
Not the other
Delilah.
Sansom.
Yeah. The I don't know. What's another one? Is there another one? I'm trying to
I don't
think
know,
of one.
the
And
villain from the Dave Chappelle movie about selling medical marijuana is villain name. The villain name there is Samson.
damn, what a pull! What's that movie called?
High something.
Shit,
Half baked? You talking about
Half Baked.
It is
Yeah.
half baked.
Hi.
The villain in
something.
that is called Samson. I can't remember that.
there you go.
not the name of the film.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Jim Brewer's in that movie, I believe.
That's true. I
The
was
great
yeah. It's
Jim Brewer.
All right, great guys. All right, let's talk about Highlander.
yes. Let's Highlander. Might
All right,
this
so
be
we-
the last one?
Oh, kind of ish, maybe. We'll see. This is now episode 9 of our nine of our continuing Highlander Endgame coverage. So this our series of podcasts is what, like 4 times the length of the movie, perhaps at this point, maybe
Yes.
maybe
Easy.
longer. Wow.
According to Twitter, I read a tweet once that said, if your podcast about the movie is longer than the movie, then you fucked up.
Oh, well, do you think we fucked up, Eamon?
No.
I mean, mistakes were made.
No. Okay, good. I guess that's great.
I'm
We had fun
doubling
making
down.
them though.
Yeah,
Sure.
it's the journey, not the whatever.
That's
Is
right.
that a saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the exact saying.
It's the journey, not the end game or something, right? Sure.
Yeah.
Mm.
But before we get-
Okay, well, before we get
we
into
embark
this movie, we're
on
gonna
this
play
journey.
the old catalog game. So I'm gonna
Ooh.
read a description out of the 1996 Highlander catalog, and Kyle and Eamon are gonna do their best to guess the actual retail price at the time of the item within 20%. If they get within 20% or closer, they get my respect and get to give their opinion at the end of the episode. This might be the only episode it matters, right? Finally get to give that opinion.
Might be.
That's right. All right. And if they don't get within 20%, I get to give my opinion, which no one wants to hear. So it'll be great for everybody.
Yeah,
That's
well,
not
that'll be
true.
no different whether you give it first, last, or in the middle. So
That's right. Okay, so here we go, guys. Here is this week's item. Boom.
Whoa.
Yeah, whoa, indeed. Huh?
No rebar.
No
How am I
rebar,
supposed to
just some bricks.
accurately guess without accounting for the rebar.
I know.
All right, so this is item 121, caps. Here's the description. Suitable crowns for the princes and princesses of the universe.
Boo.
Pick a hat
No.
that says, "What's on your mind?" Adult baseball caps available with the Highlander logo embroidered in bold red on black wool blend, or the Joe's Bar logo embroidered in fluorescent pink on black cotton twill. For kids, a youth cap in white and cotton twill with Highlander. There can be only one, silk screened in red. And there you go.
So
Wow.
That one's only for kids. Non-kids can't wear that one.
Yes. But I my guess is it's like because it's silk screened, right? It's like a cheaper kid hat, right? You can't trust these kids with all these hats,
With a
fancy
hat?
hats.
Yeah. They're gonna
Right.
they're gonna get chocolate all over it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Keith, based on the hat you're wearing, I don't trust this advice. But
This hat's lasted. This is great.
This hat's lasted. Is that your Key Farms hat?
It is my Key Farms hat.
That fucking hat has been through the ringer, man. I
It
don't know
has.
what-
It's been
I
through
don't
the
know
wash too.
what you've done to that hat.
It's been bleached unsuccessfully.
Nice.
bleach so it can look like this child's Highlander hat.
That's right. It's probably waterproof now. It's so like fucking dingy and greasy.
When you initially said they're all caps, I was like, but the one in Joe's isn't in all caps.
That's true.
That's in more of a script.
Yeah. But
All right.
I guess I could guess first on this bad boy.
Go for it,
And
Kyle.
I'm gonna guess that are the kids ones a different price? It's all the same price.
The kids one is a different price. Don't worry about guessing the kids one.
Ooh.
Let's just guess adults only XXX.
All right, adults only XXX is got to be $24.99 then.
$24.99. All right.
Is my guess.
Eamon, how much would you pay for one of these caps? Or do you think they charge for one of these caps?
Yeah, I won't say how much I would pay, but for how much I think they're asking for, I'll say $19.99.
$19.99. All right. Eamon, how much would you pay for them? Just out of curiosity.
I don't wear ball caps, so $0.
$0. Okay.
I would not purchase one of these.
Would you wear like a wool cap?
I would wear a wool cap.
How much would you pay for a wool cap? I know this is apples and oranges, but
It is, but it's okay. I'll play your game.
all right, good.
I don't know, probably like $20 at most.
All right, $20 at most. So you pay more for the wool.
More for the wool, man.
At
More
least
than
one, at
zero,
least
yeah.
1 cent more.
Yeah, I'll get utility out of that in the cold winter months.
That's right.
And then somebody can read Joe's and say, "Oh, you're a Highlander fan."
Yeah.
I enjoy Joe's Bar as well.
No, there's. I wonder how many people would actually be able to identify it because it is just the word Joe's.
Yes, right.
If they did identify it, I'd probably have a heart attack and die.
Sure. I mean, if I saw someone with like something looking like that, I would ask if that was Highlander related.
Yeah.
Because there's also a chance it's totally not, and they'd be really confused, right?
Now, would you ask anybody, or would you kind of like look at them and figure out, does this look like somebody I can just go up to and ask a question?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to, what are we talking about, guys? All right, here, let's
look
get
at these
let's talk about these caps. They're not hats, Kyle. They're caps.
Quite
Anyway, Kyle, you guessed $24.99. Eamon, you guessed $19.99.
This is true.
This is true. Actual retail price in 1996 was $16.
Oh,
Which, so Eamon, you're closer. However, not within 20%. The cutoff was $19.20.
damn.
Damn.
At $16.99.
It was just $16 flat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. I was like, is that math right?
it is.
It is right. I used the calculator and everything.
Oh,
Ooh.
good job.
Calculator.
All right. Thanks
What a
for
deal.
playing. Great job.
Wow, that's
I'm
actually
surprised
a
at
reasonable
the-
price for a hat.
Yeah, it's not so bad.
Because I bet that's like $20 today, and I don't think people blanch unless they're like really shitty. I don't think people blanch at $20 for a hat.
No.
Yeah.
How much does a ball cap cost these days? Not if you're at the ballpark, because that's a premium.
Well, yeah.
I guess I don't know. Depends on what it is. Let's say $20.
Branding, baby.
Huh. All right, great.
Keith.
Austin
Called your
Orioles.
shot that you were giving your opinion first on this bad boy.
I've been giving my opinion first most of the time in this extended podcast series here. It's ridiculous. Okay, so
Because
we should do a recap.
This is true.
Let's go.
Recap following our caps.
Yes, that's right. Oh yeah. How much did you pay for the recap? All right. Who do you want to give it, Kyle? You gave it last time and you were
that's
winded.
why I shouldn't do it this time.
Eamon, do you want to do it, or I could try it?
I can try it.
All right.
You want to? All right, I'll do it.
It'll be terrible if I do it.
Should I try to do it as fast as Kyle?
Yes, faster. It's a race.
We're in an eating race.
Okay. Highlander Endgame. Connor and Duncan go to New York and they get a hot dog. Connor says, "Watch your back." Connor goes to the antique store. There's a creepy man hanging outside of it. It explodes. Rachel's in there. She dies after she watches some videos of Connor and her doing stuff, which is impossible because they didn't have cameras then, but whatever. It explodes. Connor is full of shame and goes to the sanctuary where he's locked up, and their doo-doo goes into a weird doo-doo trap. Kel comes up. He's an evil immortal. He kills all the immortals, and they think Connor's dead, but Connor's not dead, and he has a bunch of motorcycle goons. And Duncan goes looking for him, and he goes to the antique store, and all the goons show up, and Duncan fights them, and his old girlfriend is there too, and she doesn't like him for some reason, and it's actually his wife, not his girlfriend, and he fights them. And then he falls out, and then the Watchers kidnap him and put him in the sanctuary, and then he gets broken out by Joe and Mythos, who killed Watchers, and give him his sword back. And they go to a cemetery, and Connor's there for some reason. And Kell shows up and says he's the architect of Connor's pain. And they fight Connor, and Connor loses. And Duncan's like, "What the F, man?" And then Duncan fights. Connor fights Duncan.
You're really losing momentum here, buddy.
And they have sex. Not Connor and Duncan, but Duncan and his old girlfriend. And then she's like, "What the F?" And Duncan killed her, and she became immortal, and she doesn't like that. And Duncan cut Connor's head off. Hooray! And then Kell killed all the goon immortals at dinner.
Wow.
Very good. All right.
It wasn't as good as Kyle, I don't think. But
no.
That was pretty good though.
I love to see it. So we're now like at the very end. Like this is it. Finally.
This is it.
So at this point, we now get this like meditative moment, right? We're jumping into the movie. The kata, right? So Duncan is in like this empty warehouse, like at 2 a.m. It's like pitch black, and he does a cool kata.
This is like the opening credits to the show.
It is like I did wonder like if this was supposed to like kind of look like that at all, or is it just that like, oh, warehouses all look like warehouses, so you know.
He's wearing like a tank top, isn't he?
He is a black tank top.
Very sexy.
Right.
Hubba.
So what do we think of this?
It's good.
You know, this gets a shrug. Well, I guess there's like there's poetry. It's poetry because our first meeting of Duncan, he's doing like a kata. We see it again. That's fine, I guess. But I don't know. There's really no point.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of like seeing Duncan do katas just as a thing. Like, he's good at them.
Sure.
Yeah. He
makes them work. It's a big part of the character. So I guess all of that's fine. But like, I don't know why we've spent so much of this movie watching him do them.
This baffles me. Like,
What does baffle mean?
I completely agree with you, Kyle. Like, I love that Adrian brought the kata thing to the movie, right? Like, that does seem like uniquely Duncan MacLeod. But like, they don't talk about it, and I'm like, what is the purpose of this kata? Like, they don't lean into like, hey, maybe Mac is like really upset about Connor's death and like can't face Kell in anger, so needs to like do a thing to clear his mind, right? Also, by the way, at this point, Duncan has never faced Kell, which I think is hugely problematic. But
I agree.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just wish there was like a reason to have this kata here, right? Like it has to have some like deeper meaning, right? Story-driven meaning.
Well, like at this point, Duncan has gotten the powers of Connor. They should do some type of illustration to show like Duncan's leveled up.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how they could show that in the context of this film, because they haven't really like we haven't seen like any indication of Duncan's. I mean, I guess Duncan fought all those goons in the
but he did
the antique store. Yeah.
Yeah, he did
like
fine.
He didn't lose. He
Like,
he handled them. Yeah.
Against 5 guys. Like,
yeah.
So I
If
don't
there
know.
was,
Like,
if
what
there
are
was like a thing where like Duncan was like trying to do a move or something,
right?
And he couldn't quite do it in the beginning of the movie, and now he can do it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, or something. Or he gets a rematch against Jin K and like beats Jin K or
right.
something. You know what I mean? Like,
which
that's perfect, Eamon. Like there needs to be an illustration of it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And furthermore, this whole thing, like one of the weirdnesses at the heart of this is, in a vacuum, does anyone think that like Adrian Paul can't handle Bruce Payne? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like watching this film, do you sit there and be like, oh yeah, like Connor's definitely stronger than Duncan. Like Jacob Kell's definitely stronger than Duncan because of this math problem that Joe does, right?
Yeah.
Like that doesn't make much sense. And
right.
insofar as you're asked to accept that, like even the math adding it up doesn't work either. Right. So like fighting someone else like Jin K or doing something like is part of the logic of the movie. Like it's asking you to accept this jury rigged premise about the numbers, but then like, you know, they in fact power up Kell in the final moments, perhaps more than Duncan gets powered up by fighting Connor, right? Like Jin K seems better than Connor.
Right.
He just does. Like he seems like a better fighter. Like, so why isn't Kell incrementally that much stronger now too?
Right.
Because we only see Connor like fight a bunch of goons. He fights Duncan like 300 years ago or something. And then he gets his ass kicked by Kell, right?
Yeah, like just housed by Kell.
Yeah. But Connor's supposed to be more powerful than Duncan.
And I just don't think anyone buys that either. Like, Duncan spends his free time doing katas. Mm-hmm. Connor, I don't know what he does.
He stands on top of a hill and does like sword moves.
Oh, that's right. He does do that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, another way to structure this whole thing, like we had talked in an earlier episode about like this should be a team up film, like a posse film. Like you said, Kyle, like, or both of you, we've all said that like there's no way Duncan can take, or Bruce Payne is going to take on Duncan. This doesn't seem to make sense. But like it could also be a like we're all guarding the king sort of movie, where Duncan needs to level up so he can beat like 5 pawns in a row, and he gets injured the whole way. So that way, by the time he gets to Bruce Payne, like they're equally matched, right?
Stakes.
Yeah, there's some stakes, but like this doesn't make any sense. Anyway, whew. Good. I'm glad we talked about the kata for longer than it was. So.
Hey, they chose.
God damn it! It doesn't make sense. Anyway.
Hey, then how do we? Then we get kicked off with. Actually, I like the sound effect on this clap. It's a well echoed clap.
All right, 5 stars.
It's weirdly satisfying. Whoever the Foley artist was on this captured the clap.
Do you think Kell did his own clap?
Great question.
Yeah, because now we are just. Duncan and Kell are now just going to fight.
Yeah, he just shows up.
They're just in a place and they're going to fight. And that is where we are. Yep. And I guess I don't know that I needed more setup than this, but.
Sure you did. Come on.
Yeah.
They just show up and fight?
It's just bizarre. Like this, he just killed Connor and now it's like, I don't know, is it 20 minutes later? He's at Kell's jam?
Yeah. It's really strange.
70 years later.
Mm-hmm.
And they just find each other. It is weird though. It's like even the show, like they'll put in a phone call. You know what I mean?
Yeah, something.
Like, they'll do
like something. I'm at the thing. Ugh, if you want to see Lisa B again, come to Wellington Street.
Oh,
I don't know.
Okay, so in this fight, like we start in this like church place, right? It's this big grand place that's under construction. And do we spend any time here, or do we just get the hell out of here and go to a basement?
We get right to that basement, baby.
Well, they charge at each other at one point.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, at one point, at the very beginning of the fight, they show up. Bruce Payne says, "I never knew you had him inside you."
Ooh, hot.
Which they are obsessed with that phrase about things being inside other things. It's like a Russian nesting doll fetish.
I can't decide if I like that or not.
What's that?
The inside of you line. Like, part of me thinks it's ridiculous, so ridiculous that I like it.
It's at least a little bit funny. Like, a lot of what he does is ridiculous and prompts no response from me.
Right.
That's at least like, I will say, one of my favorite tropes in anime is like the two people charging at each other, doing like the sword draw thing. Does that work here?
No.
They are running at each other for so long. Yeah. And they're just like grunting and howling at each other like
It's comical. Here's my problem with this. Like, they run at each other and they're in like a hallway.
Yes.
And then they knock each other over. But I'm like, there was no ledge.
Here, let's watch. Here's them falling over. We might have to go beat by beat, guys. All right, here, the running. Ah!
Oh.
All right.
Go back further.
What a tremendously unsafe setup.
Here?
Look at this. Yeah.
Sure.
I'm not seeing like a ledge.
Yeah, you're right. There isn't one.
Yeah, it is very unclear where we are in space. Like, that does not look connected.
Yeah.
And now we're like in a basement, which has like a ceiling.
Look, and there's a ceiling.
That's this is crazy. Yeah.
They like teleported.
Yeah, that's actually watching it again. That's what I meant, is like they fall, but then there's a roof over where they fell into.
Yeah. It's bananas, it's like, right?
It just filmically, that's not a word, is it? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And it's such a bummer. Like, I mean, again, this movie has like, I guess, a low budget and, probably got screwed a bunch of ways. But like they had obviously conceived this like bizarre religious temple. And like, I feel like in a better movie, this would be like, this final fight would have been set up the entire film because we'd learn about the architecture of this building, right? Like we would learn that, we're building an altar for whatever, or there's maybe a throne room for fucking Kell because he's like some weird demigod character, right? And then in the final fight, we get to like go around this place. Like it gives us the roadmap we're on, right? Anyway, whatever.
Ooh, the roadmap, is that
the roadmap?
Was that like a Barack Obama thing, or what was that? The roadmap, was that Hillary Clinton? Anyway,
okay. I don't remember.
Good question.
Huh?
The fight continues.
The fight does continue. Should I just hit play and we like skip around it a bit, or what happens next? I don't know.
Call out what you got.
All right, let's see here.
People can see this.
Here we go.
So they're in this pipe hallway.
Pipe hallway, kicking.
Which leads into like pipe antechamber somewhere.
Right. And Mac is just getting like the shit kicked out of him.
And so are they supposed to be channeling Connor's haircut with Duncan?
What? Really?
Look, I don't know. I rewatched this scene this morning in preparation for this. And his hair is just like so floppy all the time. I'm like, are they trying to
maybe?
Oh, interesting. I don't know.
Create some kind of visual symmetry with the weird bowl cut that Connor was using. Don't know.
Can we talk about his like shirt and coat?
We gotta. We're here in episode 9. Yeah. So what else are we gonna talk about?
Yeah,
they look
brown
like,
boy throwdown with like
yeah. They're like glossy. I kind of like them, and I kind of don't at the same time. I want to feel it. I want to like ask him if I can feel the material of his shirt.
Sure.
Ooh, Marks though. I mean, this is cool. I don't know what to say. You know what I mean? Like some of it's cool and some of it's not. Look at his face.
No, some of this fight is fucking awesome, and some of it is just like a snooze, or I've already seen it. All right, I'll play again. We'll move on a little bit more. Duncan. Oh, hold on. We got to talk about this.
Where?
Oh boy. I have this in my notes. So what? Follow the camera. What are we looking at here? Like, what are they trying to tell us to look at visually? So Duncan and Kell go down the hall, and then the camera just kind of drifts upwards. And Eamon, I think it's to what you were saying. Like, where are we? Like, I think they're trying to say we're gonna go upstairs a bit, but there's no stairs. Like, the camera just points kind of randomly at the ceiling.
Yeah.
It's so strange. Nope, we saw some of this. Sorry, guys. Boop, 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 boop. Here we go.
Yeah, so they're going
like, and then the camera's just over here. Like, what are we like staring at? The wall, and now we're somewhere else. Like, geez, Louise.
Like, is that supposed to tell us like the fight's just going all over the place?
Right. That kick. What do we think? Fucking cool.
Yeah.
Adrian, man.
Adrian Paul is awesome. Oh, he got a nice.
And now we're up on a catwalk.
Yeah.
All right, I also have to
I have no idea how they got up there.
In the DVD,
they teleported.
Did you say teleported? Can we
teleported?
I trademark that right now.
I didn't.
Teleporting.
You do that.
Like, okay.
Doesn't he teleport in the trailer?
He does a few times. He teleports in the movie, for God's sake. All right.
Damn.
On the DVD commentary, right? The producers talk about, they're like, we filmed it in this warehouse, and continuity was a huge point of they were like, we wanted to make sure the audience knew exactly where the characters were every step of the way. And I was like,
Wrong.
Are you crazy? Also, that's like why you film in a random factory. Like, this is like filming in the woods. Like, you can just point the camera kind of anywhere, and it's like, oh, it kind of looks like the same place. Like, whatever. Right. And you just film around. Yikes. This is cool.
Yeah, like some of this is interesting.
This is good. I like this.
I like the lunge.
Oh, and Kell's
like, bongo.
And like, one of the things that I never understand at any point of this is like how injuries work in the context of this movie.
Right.
Because Duncan is straight up, he's like in the superhero.
Okay, and now we're just falling again.
That's the thing that's so nuts about this is they've already done that. They already decided to have a thing where the main character falls from a height,
right,
to get here, and they do it again for some reason.
And I don't know if this is supposed to mirror Highlander 1 or just to be a device to get us to a location, which is how it's used in Highlander 1. Mm-hmm. But like, I would argue that at least in Highlander 1, like, we're up on top of the studio, the Silver Cup building, and like they use that whole location to great effect, right? Like, we're climbing up on scaffolding, right? There's like they flood the whole thing. There's a fight underwater kind of thing. Like, there's all this stuff, and then we move on to like a new location. Like, this doesn't take advantage of like where it is. It's just like, let's just go to a new place and a new place. Like, I don't know. We spend no time in the weird religious center.
In Highlander 1, like, the final battle is on the Silver Cup building, and you have that big iconic sign, and then they fall into this like nicely lit dark room where there's a huge window behind them, and you can see all of New York City illuminated. Like, that's a cool, like, evocative place to have a fight.
Yeah.
And then even in Highlander 2, the final fight is in a cool looking place. It's in like this weird room with a big beam going up. So it looks cool. Highlander 3 and this movie, they're just like, we're just in like a abandoned warehouse with flying all over the place. It's just
doesn't seem that abandoned. There's steam everywhere.
Yeah. It's just like, it's not like cool like the first. Far be it for me to compliment Highlander 2, but like those had like iconic looking final battle locations that are awesome.
It's visually interesting. Yeah.
This, I'm just kind of like, I've seen this. I've seen this already. Like, it's not like to me, the movie should have the oomph. Like, this is a movie. This is like bigger. And this is just like, I've seen this on like in 6 seasons of Highlander. I've seen them fight in places like this. It's just kind of
dozens of times.
Yeah. Yeah,
I will say where they're about to go is pretty cool though. I do like this is I think the only kind of place in this that I think is like, oh, at least this has like a look to it. And like all right, let's move on with the fight.
Oh,
ouch.
That is a good impact. Deep impact.
Yeah. Good impact. All right, and is this where we get recycled footage? And now we've already seen this. This is
unforgivable.
Okay, I'm gonna stop the share right now. And I know I've shared this story before, but I'm sharing it again because it's actually in the Highlander podcast now. All right, when I first saw this movie, got it from because I didn't see it in the theater. I don't think I was allowed to see this movie, but whatever. Anyway, got the double disc.
Were you under house arrest?
Yeah, I was under house arrest. Anyway, this movie came out in the year 2000, right? So the DVD might have been 2001. Anyway, early DVD years, right? Like a DVD player was like a new thing in our house, right? And so getting this like DVD was like cool. Like, oh, like there's all these new features. There's like hidden menus, like super great.
The disc in.
You put the disc in, right? You can tell the younger listeners how a DVD works.
Very important.
This. All right. Anyway, point is that when it got to this part in the thing, I was like, "Oh shit, the DVD is skipping. It's scratched or something." And I am not joking. I should have written a letter to the company. I'm not joking. I spent an hour trying to clean the disc, putting it back in. It kept, and I was like, it skipped again. Because I was like, I was a Highlander nut. I was like, I need to watch this movie like complete. I'm missing something. There's some scene. It's not going to work right. And then I finally realized that like, my God, they tricked me.
Just reused footage.
Yep. I wasted an hour on that. Anyway, back to this fight.
Is, like, did they even do, like, they did this on the TV show sometimes, but I'm just like, wow. Reused fucking footage.
Yeah, in a movie. And also, like, what do we need this footage for? What's the reason we get to this location? Why did they cut to this? I forget.
Padding, baby.
Cool. It's just padding?
Padding,
Spin
man.
kick?
Paddington Bear. Paddington 3.
Is there a Paddington 3?
I think there's
crazy.
Yeah. Paddington Endgame.
Paddington v. Madeline, Dawn of Justice.
Okay.
Oh, fire.
And now, like, so this is like where there was like an end point before, and he just runs away.
What's happening?
I don't know.
Unclear.
This is kind of cool.
I think this is cool. Like, this feels neat.
This set is rad and reminds me of like Big Trouble Little China.
Yeah.
Also, I like that this like
Highlander 3.
I dig that this like impacts the fight too, like because they've got all this stuff. Like it actually changes the way the choreography is done. Like that's cool.
Would you say it's off the chain?
Oh boy, this is
no. In a minute, they're going to be on the chain.
Oh, they're on the chain.
But like, I could watch a fight primarily set in this.
Yeah,
that's a good shot. I like that shot.
And I think some of this was like taken out of the theatrical version, right? Or was this entirely out of the theatrical version? Anyway, crazy. Nice. Duncan goes on a little ride for his sword.
It's also
I don't know what just happened.
Like, it happens to be only one and only one chain moves, and it's the one with his sword in it.
Yep.
And then there's this. So now we're like changing levels again. So we started on some elevated level in a church. We fell to a basement. Then we're up on a scaffold. Then we fall maybe 2 levels into a sub basement. Then we go up a chain elevator ride, right?
Just to the regular sub basement.
Yeah, like all over the place. All right.
On the chain.
On the chain. That's it. That's like part 1 of the fight.
Yeah.
So we got some good stuff, and we got some recycled footage.
Yeah.
I will say that might be the better part of this fight.
It is.
Because the climax of this involves some interesting choices. I guess we should talk about it.
Man. Yeah. All right. Let's talk. So what happens next? So the next scene, there's like a little interlude. So Mac is getting like, and this was like part of the clip at the top of the episode. So Mac is like bandaging his leg. And then, like from an office building across the street or something, the skeevy Watcher is there with a sniper rifle.
Who is this character again? Why do we care about this character?
So that was my first question. Also, I had watched the theatrical release twice before watching the producer's cut.
Uh-huh.
It was just how I had done it because it was more convenient for me to play HBO. This does not happen in the theatrical cut. This is all out. So when I saw this in the producer's cut, I lost my goddamn mind. Because I was like, who is this character? I assumed he was one of the untold thousands that Mythos slaughtered breaking Duncan out of Watcher HQ. And also, like, what's he here to do? Like, why isn't he, and why would he consider shooting Duncan and not, Bruce Payne?
Yeah. The guy responsible for this whole fucking mess.
So, all right, let's get into like.
Oh, also, like, do we want to say like Joe shows up and kills him?
Yeah. So finish it up, Eamon. So what happens?
So Joe comes in and they're like, and he shoots him, and then he says "Merry Christmas."
Yes.
Yeah.
This doesn't make sense unless you've seen the rough cut, because in the producer's cut, Connor doesn't drop off the Christmas tree.
Right. There's no real mention of Christmas, right?
And there's no real Christmas decorations or anything. It's just
Well, there are Christmas decorations in the office, which is strange.
Right. Yeah, very strange.
So the story of this, so I'm going to play, this is the alt cut version, or excuse, I always say alt cut. I'm sorry, the rough cut. So this
the Snyder cut.
The Snyder cut. The reason this is so confusing is because this scene was not supposed to take place here, and this is supposed to take place during the Connor fight, and it's during the day. And the idea is, like you said, like why would he kill Duncan if Kell's right there? Shoot Kell. It's because the Watcher dude is trying to like start the sanctuary up again, and he wants to shoot Mac so they can take him in. That's the deal. So this is what it looks like in the rough cut. So here's Mac on the roof after he killed Duncan during the day, which is strange.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know if they were gonna like change the.
You weren't in here to pad
look at all this Christmas shit. Jesus Lord.
Yeah.
What are you doing here?
What are you doing here?
Just watching.
Huh.
Yeah, well, don't interfere again, Joe.
We got to talk about Joe's pocket.
And what are you gonna do, Matthew? Pump him full of bullets and drag him back to the sanctuary? Second time's the charm. It's wrong.
Was he always English?
What you're doing.
I think so, maybe.
It's inhumane. They're just pieces on a chessboard. They're not human, are they? I need a reason, Matthew.
This is crazy.
It's for the good of us all.
At least there's something to this, though.
Because we have to. It's that simple. Try harder. Well, how about this?
Oh, all right. Look at Joe's pocket.
Like, why is it sticking through already?
He's perfectly.
Did he cut a hole in his jacket for the muzzle?
He cut a gun hole. Don't you have that in your jackets?
Yep.
Don't you cut holes in your pockets where you can stick a gun?
And then there's like a bullet shot.
Gun at him.
Yeah. This is amazing. I laughed out loud when I saw this. What? Are you crazy, man? What?
Oh shit!
All right, this is fucking nuts.
Cold.
This is crazy.
This is our hero character, Joe Dawson, fucking gangland execution style, like popping off some guy's dome.
Wow.
He's peeling his fucking skull back. Oh,
and then doing that. Why does he
crazy? No way, man.
Can we watch that again?
Do you really want to watch it again?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I will. And then he says Merry Christmas. Unbelievable. All right.
Christmas.
God, that is.
You just want to see him shot again? Is that?
I just want to see Joe shoot that guy again.
All right.
Yeah, but that's crazy. That gun hole is crazy.
Gun hole. Like they did not think that through.
How about this?
Oh, douche. This is not in keeping with Joe's character at all, right?
Oh,
I guess I don't know.
Shit, Jesus Christ!
Like he shoots Horton. Are we supposed to think that this is a Horton-esque figure?
But like the movie doesn't let this isn't a payoff to anything. We needed more of conversations and arguments with them about two philosophies. Like, I mean, hell, I don't even know what the Watchers are coming into this movie, right?
Merry Christmas.
No. So like,
all they really seem to do is run the sanctuary badly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they didn't. There's no legwork done. So this is crazy.
Just like unbelievable. This is how they treat Joe.
Yeah.
Where's Mythos?
Well, he's gone, and he was out of the movie since the graveyard. And if you're watching the theatrical release, that is also the last time you see Joe. It's it. It's done.
That's right. Wow.
So I guess
It's crazy
that he has something else to do. I don't know that.
Yeah.
This was the thing, but
I mean, it's crazy just not to even have them come back at the end and like, oh, you made it through. Like, I mean, there was always that in the series, like Joe waiting alone in the bar, right? Being like, I don't know if Mac's coming back from this one. Like, at least fucking that seems cheap.
Yep.
All right. So let's continue with the fight. We're now at a whole new elevation because why not?
Elevation.
All right.
Ooh.
And this just happens. We just cut to this. Like Kell just shows up,
and they're like they look now like they are on like an elevated position.
Yeah.
Like they're above the rest of the building now.
I gotta say, I love the way Bruce Payne fights. I like that he's like really relentless. He feels like an unstoppable force, which I think is cool.
Yeah. So he's like, I'm gonna do the same thing to you that I did to Connor.
Right.
Which why I guess they continue. The fact that he's just a loon continues to do a lot of work.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's like, why does he care? Like, all right, Connor's dead.
Yeah.
Good job.
I mean, I still like I'm like left wondering like what's the story of this fight? Like why is Duncan here? Like what's Duncan's motivation? Like is it just revenge?
I think I mean I don't wonder that.
No? I mean you just think he wants to stop him because he's a bad guy.
Well, I think he wants to stop him because he's a bad guy, and I do think that Kell did destroy Connor. Like did successfully destroy him. Like he's back to Connor made this sacrifice so that Duncan could come beat him.
Sure. I'm like, I just wish there was more, like, I wish they told us more about it. Like, I want to know, like, real motivation why Mac is here. Like, you won't do this to someone else. Or, I don't know. Like, they don't even say anything. Mac just shows up and it's like, I'm here to kill you. I don't like it. All right, moving on.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. You've inherited this curse. And then Kell gives him Rachel's necklace thing.
Right.
Which I guess like he either assumes that she's dead or that she's going to be the next victim. So then we get Eamon's favorite line.
Yes.
All right, here.
Kell. Jacob Kell.
Oh wait, did we miss it? Oh, here we go. Sorry.
Jacob Kell.
How many times does he say Jacob Kell? Revenge.
Like 2 or 3.
Ooh.
We see all these clips.
But so like I guess we're supposed to think Duncan has a reason now. Like a more reason to protect his loved ones.
Well, see, there you go. I mean, like, no offense, Kyle, doesn't that kind of go against what you were saying about like he's got a motivation? It's like, well,
I just mean within the context of this fight, like why he does better. Like this is a turning point in the fight.
Sure, absolutely. So like, but see, like this is why I'm so confused. Like, what's the motivation to begin with? You say this is a turning point in the fight, right? But then I'm like, also like, what was the kata for, man? Like, what was all this shit in preparation for? If like Mac wasn't gonna put his all into it until he got this, like, I don't know. I feel like nothing has context to make this like interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right.
I'll never bring you redemption.
All right.
For you.
So now we're about to get the return of the move. And Eamon, this might have been a way that like they could show Duncan's growth, is that like because he beat Connor, he can
do the move. Right.
Like maybe he never got it, but now he does.
I'd be home for dinner an hour ago, but this is very impressive.
There's that line from the opening.
Come on, what are you waiting for?
I'd be delighted.
So
So
like,
crazy.
I don't know. How do we feel about the way the special move is deployed here? Because Kell obviously
Impressive.
Kell knew about it.
I guess so.
Yeah.
or is just so good, or what? Like, to me, this is why Duncan needed to face Kell earlier. Like, these things need to be separated out into more fights or something. Like, Duncan needs to go try the move and be, I mean, this is like Karate Kid, right? Like, we get the crane kick in the first movie, and then what do we do in the second movie?
The drums that are just punching.
Right, right, just pummeling someone to a pulp. But like, there's at least the acknowledgement, like, hey, you know that thing you tried last time? Like, can you do it again? Like, oh, it doesn't work. I need to learn something new. And it's
I need to level up.
Right. I mean, like, all these things like should have been rearranged, I think, in the script, perhaps, to make some more sense, like why it builds in this particular way.
Well, this is why like the Highlander writers needed to watch anime, because this is like this is anime territory. This is like Dragon Ball Z. Goku has like the super Kamehameha, and now that doesn't work anymore. So he has to go do the Kaioken, and then that doesn't work anymore. So he has to do Super Saiyan. And there's like a journey that he takes to like learn these new moves to defeat the new big enemy. And in this, it's just like, I don't know, like whatever.
Sure. Right.
Yeah, you're right about this. This is like well-defined territory, and it all just like comes down to, like, I guess it was all just a misdirect. Like, I don't know, the move never really mattered. I guess
it didn't.
The move teaches, or the move somehow enables Connor to force Duncan to kill him, but the mechanics of that are strange.
This movie is broken.
Huh?
This movie's broken.
Yeah. Also, this move seems very easy. For a move that was billed to us as literally unstoppable, like, nothing happens here that couldn't be accomplished without this little hand blade. He just blocks it.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, this does not seem hard. Like, it seems like anybody should be able to do this. Anyway. So,
it is a cool hand blade, though.
So this gets like gross. This is violent, right?
Yeah, this is the part that really leads me to wonder about how the wounds are supposed to work. Because he's about to stab this guy like 50 times.
This is horrifying.
Oh. Wouldn't his guts be like falling out? Oh. That nice shirt is ruined. That's the true crime.
That is the true crime.
No,
he still has it buttoned at the top now.
Brown silk shirt with black pants.
Uh-oh, what's this about? His voice changed.
Connor.
Okay. So.
Oh.
Okay.
His face was changing.
Okay.
Again, the first, like, this is the second quote turning point in the fight. Like, the first one is when his loved ones are threatened and it seems like he gets better. And now, after being stabbed a million times, he seems to again have some kind of level up here.
He gets
after stabbed a million times. So, like, I don't know what's supposed to trigger this moment. And second off, we are about to see multiple, like, video effects to put Connor's face on Duncan, and it looks like those jib jab cards. Like, it's that level. Like, it just kind of looks like Connor's floating head is put on Duncan's shoulders.
It's Snapchat filter technology.
It is. This didn't turn out as I think they hoped, right?
Yeah, this just does not. They would have been better off just using the voice as the only touchstone if they wanted to go this route.
Agreed.
Because this
and have Duncan's face like covered in shadow or something.
Look, it did it again. There it goes again.
Yeah, like
also, like, I mean, I know their heads are like very differently shaped, but like Lambert's like projection face is too big.
Right. Yeah. It's
like,
it
like
doesn't
Kyle
line up
said,
right.
He looks like a super deformed like chibi character or something, like with the big head. But are we supposed to think like Duncan's now like using his combined Connor and Duncan power? Is that what we're supposed to get from this?
I think so, yes.
Now, why didn't he just use that the whole time? Or is this his like trump card?
I don't know.
Trump
Check this out. So
24.
there's another bit in this. Let me stop the share here. Stop the share.
Stop the share. Bruce Payne was good in that scene though. When Connor talks, his like face was good.
Yeah. Well, here's another thing I find broken in the movie. Is like when does Duncan take on Connor isms to defeat Kell? And like our first opportunity for that, I think, was like in the kata or something, like something in preparation. Like, what does Duncan have now, like spiritually, that's going to get him over the edge, right? To beat Kell. That doesn't happen. Then we have this moment where like there's the heart and like he gets up and his face like changes. It's like, oh, what's this change? There's another instance where they deploy this thing. And it's again, I'm like wondering like, yeah, when does Connor kind of take over? Like when does he get the extra mojo? And weirdly also in the DVD cut, the producer's cut, they crop the shot. I have no idea why. And in the theatrical cut, it's much clearer. But here is Duncan's stance in the fight with Kell. And this is done earlier. This is before he gets stabbed a bunch of times. And you can barely really tell what it is. But if we look to the next one here, you can see it wide. I'll zoom in. This is like the Connor, but this is the Connor stance, right? Yeah. But they don't make like a moment of this. This happens in like an instant. This flies by and you can barely see it happens. But yeah, I don't know if people remember from earlier, we showed the Connor stance.
Iconic shots of the mid part of the movie is him in that stance squaring up against Kell.
Right. He does it every time. So yeah, here it is in Highlander 1 for people if they don't remember. There's the Connor stance and Duncan does it. I think that's pretty cool, like that they incorporated it. But guess what? The choreographer Efron incorporated it and the movie decided to ignore it because they don't know what they're doing. Anyway.
Yeah. It's like
I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. Using the good work, Efron is good. He thinks about these things and then they just don't highlight it.
That's right.
And then also the way he wins this fight, because he's about to win this fight, it's basically the end of Leader of the Pack.
Yes.
He does like a backflip, not at all hampered by the multiple stabbings.
Right.
Bless you.
And then proceeds to just decapitate him, and the fight's over. Oh, this looks rough too. This is like a green screen bonanza. But you know,
what? This is awesome.
Also, never thought Kolya was going to be a callback.
Why is Kolya? Yeah. Oh, because when he is it in the cemetery? Does he say call me or something? Mm-hmm. What is that?
Yeah, because that's when like Duncan gets put on the knock list or whatever it is.
Yeah,
weird.
So like there really is no moment where Duncan is actually in control of this fight. Right? Like there's no moment where the tide turns really. It's just that we get this Connor beat and then all of a sudden Duncan just wins the fight. And it's right. And it's it's fairly unsatisfying.
Yeah.
Couldn't they even have just been like, I don't know, Duncan, and I don't think we mentioned it, but when Connor like face appears on Duncan, he says, "What's the matter? Don't you want to be inside of me?" So he like throws it back at him. Yeah,
that's no good.
But I'm like, Kell's like, what? But then it's like, could they do something like, whoa, Duncan's using like, this is another anime trope that this movie could have benefited by, like when there's a fight in anime and the two main anime characters are fighting, the side characters are always like watching on the side and they say like, oh, like he's doing this. Like, so like Joe could be watching the fight and be like, oh, Duncan's using Connor's power to like,
right.
turn the tide or something. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
as corny as that sounds, like give us something.
Yeah.
Cause like Kyle said, he just flips over him and kills him. And that's the end.
Right. Yeah. There's no real setup for it. If you blink, you'll miss the Connor sword stance stuff,
right?
Which is, I think, legitimately quite clever.
Yeah. And once again, I'll come back to like, what's the story of the fight? Like, to me, I'm like, is this a story about someone who wasn't confident, who learned to be confident? You know what I mean? Like all stories, all these sort of fights have some sort of like symbolic meaning. And I'm like, what is the symbolic meaning of like Duncan overcoming Kell? Nothing. It's just a flip. That's it.
The thing.
Like, it doesn't mean something more, right? Like, oh boy.
So let me get a quickening.
Oh, do we? Oh boy!
Very
All right,
evocative. It's funny, Eamon, that you mentioned Highlander 2 because we do get like this Highlander 2 style pillar of light that rips up through the sky, and then separately Duncan gets struck by lightning.
Holy moly, guys!
Yep.
Here we
I know.
go. This is the quickening. All right,
Ooh, also-
bubbles. This is crazy. This looks like a PlayStation 1 video game.
Yep.
There's like water. Like the TV show looks better than this.
With this
All right.
sped up footage. too.
What is up?
Is
The
that,
Mummy returned.
yeah, it is the Mummy returns. Oh my god. So the Mummy comes out, and now Duncan has to fight the Mummy.
Oh, wouldn't that have been great? I would have
Yeah.
I think
appreciated.
this
Look
is
at
supposed
these.
to be like
These electric.
evocative of like the dragon imagery from the first one. Like
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
during the quickening.
Yikes!
This is very, very not good.
Very not good indeed. And again,
I don't
nothing
know
about this feels
so
iconic.
much
It's just
footage
like we barely even see the skyline.
Yeah.
This is all like green screen. The camera angle doesn't change at all. I mean, like we just see Duncan from the front. Then
And now
like a
there's another
shield.
thing,
What
like,
is
this time
this?
coming from Duncan to change the weather? I just don't understand.
Yeah. Not
Yeah.
good.
So what? Yeah. For those who,
the
who
the
couldn't
head
see,
is cool. I like the head.
Wait, what head? The head that comes out of the water?
The big head that comes out and spits up lightning.
You like that part?
Interesting.
It's something.
That's
I
okay.
don't know.
I'm
It's
just
something.
confirming
You're allowed
that's
to like
not-
what you like.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, in Highlander 1, all the fucking like weird evil faces and dragon shit is awesome. Like that's one of my favorite parts of that movie. And it's all like hand painted, like
Yeah.
somebody painted all that and it looks really good. This is horrible.
Do you think this, to be fair to this, how do you think this looked in 2001?
It
Or
probably
2000?
looked
Like if you saw this then,
Yeah.
like stuff from this era, CG from this era really
Oh, yeah.
does age poorly. This
Does.
will by no means be the only victim of that. So what would
Sure.
we have been thinking at the time seeing this?
I still don't think I would have dug it. I think I would have thought that the like speed, like there's some like again music video aspects of it, like the sped up footage and like
The sped up footage really bugs me.
yeah, it's I don't know. And again, like I just feel like regardless of the effects, like I don't give a shit about this. Like this doesn't feel like a culmination like the way Highlander 1 does. Like nothing. Like I mean, some people I agree with Eamon that I like the visual flair of Highlander 1 at the end. Like I like all the dragons and it's cool that it's like cartoony. Some people don't like that. I understand. Like I think some people would make the same argument about Highlander 1 like, "Oh, doesn't it look cheesy at the end with all the dinosaurs flying around and shit?" I would say like I don't care because the story's cool and it like the music culminates and like it's bigger than just the effects, right?
Yeah.
To me this can't transcend poor effects. I don't know.
Well, and in Highlander 1, like the final quickening, like you have this cool shot where like Connor's really far away and the camera fucking like zooms in and it's quiet and then he says there can be only one and then like all hell breaks loose. I'm like, that's cool. That's like what the whole movie's been
Yeah, I mean that
building
beat
up
was
to.
rad.
Yeah.
And all the fucking buildings explode and this is just like
Right.
water squirts up. Whoa,
Yeah.
how cool.
Yeah. Also, the end of Highlander 1's exciting too because it's a bit of a mystery. Like that's the end of the
Mhm.
game as it's set up in that movie, and this is just some fucking dude. But like,
Yeah.
in the first one, we're not sure what the end of the game even means. Like, so that's like exciting to see it unfold. Like you said, Eamon. Like I think all hell breaks loose is a cool way to describe it. Like it's very captivating in that way. Like we don't know
Mhm.
like if this will be good or bad, and it seems bad. All this sort of stuff. I don't know. Hollowman.
Ooh, the Hollow Man.
That's right. All right. So any other thoughts on the end of this quickening here?
No.
No.
I mean,
Okay.
It just
That's
looks
dumb.
bad.
Yeah.
It's like
We've seen at least a dozen quickenings from the TV show that are better than this.
yep.
Probably more.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And when we're talking about the fact that this is a movie, that's pretty telling, I think.
Yeah. And you know what? Also huge. I mean, Adrian Paul, we've commented on the podcast regularly that like sometimes there's guest stars on the show and they have to do a quickening, and it's like, well, they're brand new to Highlander and have to use swords and do all this sort of stuff, and then like, oh yeah, you have to flail around and get struck by lightning, and you can tell like when some guest stars like it doesn't quite like look great, right? But when Adrian does it, it's like, man, he knows how to like sell this shit. Like his look great. And
he's working hard. I don't know that this looks great, but
well, no, but that's my point, is that like Adrian knows how to do this, and it doesn't save. Like, it's not like they had someone who doesn't know what a quickening's like, and like Adrian, I think, even knows how to like stagger his like performance in a quickening, like for dramatic effect, like when to get hit by a bolt of lightning. Like he'll make these dramatic like movements really quickly. I think he gets it, and like that doesn't save this, which is a bummer. So, nope.
Honestly, though, the final quickenings all suck in the movies except for Highlander 1, in my opinion. Like, none of them are good.
Yeah,
I don't think they don't. None of them compare. Like,
sure,
no, they certainly don't compare. That's very true.
Yeah. I go with that. All right. So denouement number 1, the ending of this movie number 1. Kyle, take it away.
Need to separate that because we get radically different endings for this film.
Yes.
So which one do we want to do first?
I guess let's do the theatrical cut,
sure,
which people can see on HBO now.
Yeah. So we just cut to a green screen.
Right?
Duncan is like in front of some nondescript rolling hills that I think we're supposed to think are in Scotland.
Sure. Yes.
But there are no visual cues to any of the familiar places we've seen before, or like
it's
to
green,
the Cloud Sword, or any of that stuff.
This looks fucking horrible.
Yeah, it looks really bad. Like it looks unstuck in time and space.
Right. Now, apparently on the DVD commentary, they said they like this was like they wanted like a few more days for this, and they couldn't get it all done. And this was like their great disappointment of the movie, which I mean, I don't know.
Yes.
I mean, the fact that it's the final shot of the movie really does leave a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah.
Like, this is the last thing you see.
Right.
Yeah.
And it looks awful. And it's just like Connor's dead. The end.
It's like completely tacked on, right?
Like, I know some people are getting tired of listening to us shit on this movie, but this is horrible. I would have rather this not be in the movie than be in the movie.
1,000%. Just end it there.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna have the voiceover, like, don't come here.
Yeah, this is awful. Like, it's like an insult to Adrian's performance. It's just like, it's bad.
All right, here, I'll play. We'll watch some of it. We have Bonnie Portmore,
which they really rely on to do some work here.
But like, it's not connected to fucking any. Like, I know we're at the end of the movie, and we're like, I'll lose my mind.
Where's
but, like,
Queen? Where's Queen?
But Bonnie Portmore has not in the show. Bonnie Portmore is used first is the first episode they use Homeland, right?
Yes.
Okay, so like we have tied the song. I mean, I guess like it's the only.
It's in Highlander 3, right?
Oh, that's true. But it's also like it's equated to like him going home. And I mean, I guess it is here too. But like, I feel like this movie doesn't set up the language of Bonnie Portmore to be like deployed in this way. Like, I don't feel like I have a connection to this song if I hadn't seen anything else. Like, this movie doesn't prep me for like this movie moment at the end where like the beautiful, like, you know, Scottish song comes on. I don't know.
Why is the movie ending with Kell's harmonica song?
Oh, I wish. All right.
Yeah.
But
even that, just do this and leave out that Scotland like.
All right, and then we get this like this like cut up cardboard
Photoshop.
Yeah.
Grave.
Yep, this is rough.
And
that's it. That sums up Connor's life, beloved husband of Heather. Like, I don't know. Like, what is this fucking movie about, man? He's just in the ground dead. This is bleak.
Like defeated.
Yeah.
Like
bleak.
I don't know. There's nothing triumphant about Connor's sacrifice in this movie. Right? Am I wrong in that interpretation? It's just, not to step on final thoughts, but it's a moment of defeat, not a moment of triumph. Like,
Duncan looks miserable. Sure, like he should be miserable. His friend is dead, but it's like, just like
it reads as suicidal, not heroic.
Yeah.
Right. And like Connor never has a moment of like redemption or new meaning to his life. He never he's just beaten and broken. Like Kell beats him.
Mm-hmm.
So Connor gives his life to Duncan.
Yep.
That's it. 1 second.
Okay.
Sorry, my robot vacuum started yelling at me.
Okay.
Robo vacuum.
Yeah, he's just beaten. And what a disappointing way for this beloved character to go out. And then for the final movie to be like this really chintzy send-off is just, it really highlights that disappointment for me.
Yeah.
Because like Connor, for all his weird noir aspects in the first movie, is like a very beloved character. And this just feels like such a letdown.
Yeah. And like we've sat through 3 movies with this guy, like overcoming adversity and like, you know, finding who he is and blah, blah, blah. And then it's just like, yeah, he's dead.
Right. That's it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I imagine we're going to have more to say about this aspect of it.
Yes.
But this is not the only ending to the film.
Yes, right. Okay, so let's now jump into the producer's cut. And so I'll play this little clip here. Let's see. Here we go.
This is wild.
Yeah, right? Okay.
Wild stuff.
So now we're back at like the Millennium Dome in London at this like Cirque du Soleil thing, which is
Doug is not interested in.
Right.
Yeah.
He just like, this is so strange. Look at this. Like he's walking with his hands in his pocket. Like this is the most stoic looking, like,
well, there's a
feels
literal
so
fireworks display behind him.
Yeah. Like, so this is the Millennium Experience show, I guess, at this entertainment complex, I guess is what you could call it. This is depressing.
Yeah.
Matt gets the buzz.
Who's there? None other than Kate somehow.
On scaffolding, because that's the theme.
Because we need more of that. It's not scaffolding, it's stairs.
Whatever. There's scaffolding after the stairs. Oh my God. And this is so boring. This is slow.
It's so long.
Look, we just walk and look, yada, yada, yada.
And like...
Why are you here? Okay. Okay. This is not her voice. Everybody is ADR'd in this. So the first ending of the movie, the theatrical ending of the movie, is a chintzy piece of crap, right? It barely looks like it should be on a projector screen. And then the second end of the movie is all ADR'd. Like, this is crazy. So I'll turn it up so people can hear. But I don't believe Adrian or Miss Lisa B speak in their voices here.
As in,
so why are you here? You hoping you'd find me? For whatever reason, Kell made his choice.
So, what now?
Trust.
what?
You can always trust me, Faith.
That is not him.
So,
That is not him.
what now?
Trust.
You can always trust me, Faith.
He's dead. I
Interesting.
thought we'd give Kate another chance.
Fuck! What the fuck?
All right.
He's ADR'd earlier in the movie also
Yeah.
Not yet.
with
What
a different
is
actor.
happening?
You hold on to it for me.
For me.
We've got plenty of time.
Okay. So,
Okay.
romance ending, I guess.
Why though? This is
Also
crazy.
we see her necklace get broken at
Yes.
the dinner scene. So we're just supposed to think Kell like took her locket and let her
guess
live.
So, and didn't kill her.
That doesn't make any sense.
Nope.
I mean, that's just so weird. Like,
It just feels cheap. It just
Yeah.
feels like dumb and exploitative and like, oh, give the people what they want for no reason.
yep.
And let's not hire the lead actor of this movie to do his lines.
I mean, my theory is that they, since this was done in post, right? Because they released the movie, they probably paid Adrian for his time, and they were like, well, we're putting together the DVD, and the sound isn't so good in that last scene. Can you do some ADR? And he probably said, you better fucking pay me more. And they said, nope, we can't do that because this is a Highlander movie. We have no money. So that's probably what happened. I don't know.
Probably.
That's my guess. Like, this is so rough to watch, like the end lines of a movie be delivered by actors that aren't in the movie.
I remember the first time I saw this ending. This is like the first ending I saw when I first watched this movie years ago. I was just like, what the fuck is this?
Fair.
Like, I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah. Okay, so we now talk about the third ending of the movie.
Let's do it.
Okay, so this is in the rough cut. Oops, 1 second.
Snyder cut.
The Snyder cut.
Ben Affleck
Here, I'll ask you a
comes
question while I'm getting this clip set up. What do you guys have a preferred way you want this movie to end? I mean, like without changing the entire movie to a different movie, which would be preferable. But like
the pieces that are on the table.
Or if you had to kind of write a little bit of a new ending, like how would everything leading up to this point, roughly this story, kind of how should you wrap it up?
I mean, the send-off, I think that what makes the most sense is this send-off ending.
To Connor?
And what's that?
To Connor?
I guess.
Okay.
And maybe to Kate too, but that Duncan reunites with Mythos and Joe and like these other people you care about, so that there can be actual emotion in the scene and not like a voiceover or something.
Kyle, that's a really good point, because we did say that a turning point in this was when Kell was like, you've inherited the curse, right? And Duncan's like, no, like you won't fucking mess with my family, right? And it's like, yeah, we got to see that family. Like, we need to know who Duncan is protecting and why. Like, there's some stakes, right? Like, it doesn't have to be a damsel in distress, like hanging from a billboard or whatever. But like, we need to know that like Joe's in danger, Mythos is in danger, and like we don't really feel that. And why we should like love them, because we're supposed to, right? Duncan does. Yikes. All right, so here we go. Third ending of this movie. Oh, this is the wrong one, guys. Whoops.
Uh-oh.
Whoops.
How dare you?
I'm so sorry, guys.
We vamped for nothing.
I know. Vamp again.
So I like your vamping song, Eamon.
That's my vamp jam.
All right. You don't need to vamp anymore. I fixed it. Here we go.
Oh.
So again, this is the rough cut. So these effects are not the end,
like placeholders,
right? Although this almost looks better than what ended up in the movie. So
that's wild. But bad-looking Duncan walks away.
Oh, the Christmas tree.
Yes.
Oh, Christmas tree. Oh, Christmas tree. Oh, Christmas tree. Oh, Christmas tree.
This is so dumb.
So is that even Adrian Paul?
Probably not.
Probably not.
God bless this man for giving us the Christmas tree.
See, he truly has inherited the curse of delivering Christmas.
Yeah. Hot dog. Too much ketchup.
I mean, what is this ending? Like, this is so different.
Yeah.
I think this is no one knew how to end the movie, is what we're witnessing. That's it. Then the credits are supposed to roll. That's it. So Duncan just walks away into the city, back into the fold of things, right?
I mean, I like it better than the theatrical ending, I guess.
Yeah.
Though I guess the Christmas tree delivery is out, so this like definitionally won't work.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because this is like the errand that Connor had to run that he wasn't telling Duncan, right? Like,
fact.
Which why?
And then if he didn't tell Duncan about it, how does Duncan know about it now to do it?
Well, now he knows because
he knows because he ate Connor.
Oh, right. So he knows all the errands.
Connor's.
Wow.
Yeah.
Watch your back.
Wow.
What a movie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man.
Highlander Endgame.
Oy. Well, we're not playing a game, so Keith, I guess we should just dive right into your opinion of this.
Okay, so this brings us now to the end of the movie, the 9-episode journey.
We
to get here
finally
and to
made
give
it.
final thoughts and what we think of this whole movie in general. I don't know.
I'm kind of surprised this is our longest. Like, this is longer than it's not that much longer though. It's only like 2 episodes longer than our Highlander one, which is that's not that much. We did some stuff in this one we didn't do in the other ones.
Sure. Yeah,
So,
I'm curious what made this one longer.
This is very indulgent. We were goofing around a lot.
Sure,
Yeah,
but I think also
true.
like this episode, Highlander 1 starts it all, so like everything's fresh. Like, so we talk about things as they're presented to us, but this movie, like, we're drawing from 3 Highlander films previously, 6 seasons of a TV show. Like, there's all these things informing our discussions, which I think really made this thing bigger than the original podcast. So
yeah, baby.
Yeah. How's this sound? Because we have let's be honest, bashed this movie a bit. We are, I think, part of a group of fans that aren't crazy about this film. I know fans do like this movie. And frankly, there's things I like about it. So why don't we talk about like our favorite parts first? Like, what's the stuff in this movie we like? What do you guys like?
So I'll
That's
go
a worthwhile
first.
exercise.
Yeah, and sorry to interrupt you, Kyle, but
No,
just
go ahead.
saying. But I'll say the first time I saw this movie, as I probably said on this podcast before, was in a bar in Philadelphia, and it was just on television. And I didn't really I think we just started the rewatch thing, but I was like, whoa, Endgame's on TV, and like Duncan and Connor are together in a movie, and that's very cool. And I'm still excited to see that, even when I rewatch this movie that I don't like very much.
Right.
But that's cool. And like, I like it. I like that this exists, and it's kind of awesome. It's like you're playing with your toys, and like your toys are together, and like Batman and Superman are in a movie together, and blah, blah, blah. And that's just,
Martha. That's my favorite part of this.
They do when Connor and Duncan both, why did you say that name? Why did you say Mothra? That's how Godzilla versus Kong ends, right?
Why did you say Mothra?
Why did you say Mothra? And then Mothra comes out, and the little girls are on Mothra. But that's cool. Like, that's a cool thing, like to see your characters, and then the movie people and the TV people and blah, blah, blah. And that's just neat. So I'm glad they could figure this out and make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
You know, I agree that is the highlight of this movie. And similarly, like, and building on that, I like seeing Joe and Mythos. Like, these are characters I care about. I want to see them on the screen, and I want to see them doing stuff. And the fact that they're there actually is like kind of fun. Like, that is kind of cool. I'd say in the context of the film they actually shot, like the Connor Duncan showdown I have some issues with it, but it's like, it's emotional. It makes me feel something about these characters. I like seeing them together. It's surprising to see them interact in that way. Like, you know, there are very likable things about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, you know, people were probably asking this question. People still ask this question, but like, who would win, Connor versus Duncan? You know what I mean? Like, that's just like, that's
literally
a cool
question I've never
thing.
Wondered, because the answer seems obvious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I wrong about that?
Very true. No, you are not. If we're just taking the evidence like as presented, as we've said before, like Adrian Paul's like a fucking killing machine. He's like,
that's right. That's right. What did we determine? He got like 20% of his kills just on Highlander, like season 3 or something.
Yeah,
of his entire lifetime. Like,
it's bananas.
Yeah.
Just because, like, oh, who wins, Schlubby Noir Man or Kung Fu God?
Right.
Yeah. It would be like Philip Marlowe versus Commando. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it just doesn't seem in proportion.
Right.
Every episode, Duncan's like pumping iron and going, look, and Christopher Lambert's like, oh, I'm going to get the beer.
Right.
I got to feed my fish.
Yeah.
I have to abandon my son in the desert.
Yeah.
That's right.
John.
Things I like about this movie. It's cool to see, like, I think they do an incredible seeing some of the failures of this movie. I'm like, let's talk about the positives. I'm like, seeing the failures, but really demonstrate, I think, how great the show is. Like, especially in the flashback arena, which is what I wanted to remark on, that like the show does such a great job with the flashbacks on like a weekly TV show budget. It's nice to see the few flashbacks we get here like have some like film qualities to them, like the lighting, there's like mist, like it's cool to see Connor like silhouetted on the battlefield when he meets Duncan for the first time. Even though I find that scene to be like kind of pointless, it's like it's kind of nothing.
Yeah.
But it looks really great. Like I love the style of it. I also love that we get to see Connor go back to his village. That's maybe a favorite part of this. Like we learn a bit more about his past, like what made Connor. And finally, like I do like the concept of the sanctuary. I think that's interesting. To me, it seems like a 2-part season episode idea. Like, because the season the show does a really good job of exploring like these different facets of immortality. Like, maybe the Watchers try to stop the game. Like, that's interesting. And I just feel like that's like a thing that's for the show to explore. I don't think it has enough like room to breathe or the context to like make sense in this film. So
I like that.
That's what I like about it, though.
Heather and what's his daughter's name? Why am I forgetting?
Rachel.
Rachel. Yeah. I like that they're back.
Rachel's back for a hot second and then gone, which is a bummer. Like I'm okay if she like maybe dies in the beginning. Well, I mean, we do fridge her, which is a whole other conversation, but like,
yeah.
If we then got to see about her, like we find that somebody in Connor's life died, and then maybe there's some more flashbacks with her so we can like, get connected to her a bit more, or learn about their relationship. But like, we don't see that.
Nope.
Like maybe we could have a young Rachel or something in this movie. Should be cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. But actually, speaking of fridging, that's perhaps a good topic. And I'm only bringing this up because I think a ton of people hate when we do it. So I don't care. And we did it on the first movie. But we rated the Highlander series like on the Bechdel test. So how does this movie like fit into like treating like women characters like they're real people and not objects to be blown up like Rachel and every other like person in this movie?
Rachel explodes without dialogue, basically.
Yeah. So Rachel gets fridged within seconds.
And then Kate is like a weird sex trophy
right.
for Mac and Kell to argue over.
All
and
right,
that's
so...
like it. Those are the only 2 female characters in the whole movie.
Right. Okay. So here's the Bechdel test. It's 3 questions. So 1, does it have 2 or more women in it who have names?
Yes.
Yes. So that's Rachel and Kate. Oh, Kate has 2 names. The test does not account for her having 2 names.
Wow.
So this thing's doing aces.
So far, it's going through the roof.
All right. Do they talk to one another?
No.
No, they don't.
Oh, you're right.
No. And then the third question is, do they talk to one another about something other than a man?
No.
Well, they already failed the second one, so.
Right.
Faily.
So yeah,
hey, but that first one though, boy, oh boy.
And also, if you
movie hits it out of the park.
And if you needed further evidence of this movie's treatment towards women, it includes the line, "A woman is a temple built on a sewer." So like, it can also go fuck itself. So.
Yeah, it's like not great in the lady department.
The lady department.
It's not good. It's just
when I found you, you were a whore.
All right, let's talk about this movie. Let's like break down more of this thing. Like, I don't know, what did we want out of this? What hasn't been said?
I've said most of my piece about various parts of this movie. The one thing that I wonder about that I don't know that we've talked about directly is there needed to be a moment when Connor and Duncan fought Kell together. Right? Like there should have been a moment where they actually tried cooperating.
Yeah.
And it didn't work for some reason. Like maybe Connor is just like, I can't, like, I've been in a sanctuary for 10 years. Like I have like the immortal quickening juice, but like, I'm just not sharp enough anymore or something. Like hell, they could even make like the Connor sacrifices himself to Duncan be part of the fight.
Right.
With Kell. Like they fight Kell together. It is not working. And that is Connor's readjustment in the middle of it. And that could be the equalizer or something.
Right.
Or
maybe it's just even Adrian Paul like fights Kell and loses as well. You know what I mean? Like something.
Yeah. I always feel like in a weird way now having watched this whole thing again, like I think I watched this like 8 times. Yikes.
Yeah.
But it almost feels like Adrian and Connor's roles should have been reversed a bit. Like, we're like, oh, in what world does it make sense that Adrian would lose? Like none, because he's a kung fu god. But like maybe he doesn't have like the willpower to win, right? Like because like at the end, I'm like we were talking about like, well, what does Connor like bring to the table here? Like, like Duncan effectively takes the soul of a defeated suicidal man, like,
Yeah,
and it's like, and that's gonna help him win. Like he just got a bunch of like sadness. Like I feel like it should be the opposite. Like maybe Duncan sees what happened to Faith and he's like, oh, I mean, I don't know. I mean, they probably should dip into the well of forgive us our trespasses and like have somebody like Kate's kind of that what was the character's name? Keen? Like, look what you did. You ruined my life. And Matt can be like, oh shit, I fucked up. Maybe I do deserve to die. Like it wasn't right for me to do this. And Kell's after me to hurt Connor, so I should give up. And Connor also, like, doesn't he say in the speech to Kate on the elevator, like, Connor taught me one thing, and that's like our gift of immortality. And it's like, well, if Connor's the one who taught it, maybe you're the student that forgot it, right? Like, you need to be retaught. Also, that like reestablishes the mentor-student relationship a bit more, right? And Connor's last lesson to Duncan can be like, take my fucking mojo and like get the will to beat Kell, because that's the thing that's holding us back. I don't know.
I don't know either. There's just, I don't know. There's something feels very jury rigged about this decision, and I feel like there were a lot of different ways they could have gone about it differently or better or tried to fix it. But just the way it all plays out is just unsatisfying because Connor just goes out like a schlub. Like he just goes out like a piece of shit. Like I don't. I'm being serious. Like I don't particularly. He's okay in the flashbacks, but like, do you like the character of Connor in this movie?
No.
He's hardly in this. I mean, like, he doesn't have a character in this movie, does he? I mean, he just gave up, and that's like it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, like he doesn't, like the modern Connor doesn't grow or change or do anything. So it's just like, I don't know. I find myself like kind of disliking him and not feeling warmly about this sacrifice because that's not how it reads.
Yeah.
And it's not like the character we've known for 3 movies. You know what I mean? Like,
correct. It's something else.
Yeah.
Like, would he really just lock himself away and like vanish from all his responsibilities?
Right.
I mean, maybe at the beginning of Highlander 1 he would, but he's like, but that gets into all the continuity stuff of this bullshit and like,
I'll say also that losing the Kell subplot of like building a religious institution or whatever he's doing, like that he has some sort of like global goal or something bigger, right, than just screwing with Connor. Like that also again makes Connor's sacrifice like just feel weird. It's like this is all just personal stuff. Like when someone sacrifices themselves, you always think like, well, it's for the greater good. It's for something bigger than them. But like his sacrifice enables Duncan to kill Kell, and the only villainous thing Kell does in this movie is harass Connor. So it's like
the story is too close.
Yeah, right?
Too closed.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, it's like Kell, the Kurgan, it's like we can't let the Kurgan win the prize, like, because then the world will be plunged into darkness forever. I don't really know what the stakes are in Highlander 2. Like,
I mean, I guess we don't want this guy to win either, but like, Rug.
But that's not really like, they don't really talk about that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's weird. And like, why his goons, like, why does he have this following? Like, the goons are just a write-off. Like, it's just, it's just,
wow.
Millions
of dollars discussed, guys. Millions of dollars.
I just have a weird, like, we've talked about these Highlander things for like 6 years at this point.
Yeah.
People like this movie, and like a lot of people agree with our review. I'm not discounting them, and a lot of people disagree. And I'm just kind of like, do they like it just because this is the thing? Like, this is the Highlander, this is more Highlander, therefore like this like is I don't want to sound too dramatic, but it's like borderline insulting.
Yes. I'm with you, Eamon. Like I know people like this movie too, and there are elements I like, and I don't know. I mean, but when I try to think of how I approach the movie, the only thing I like about it is that it is more Highlander, right? Like, and like you said, even like you like seeing Duncan and Connor on screen together. I do too, but that's only because like there's no other opportunity to see it. Like, do I wish Connor and Duncan were on screen together in something else? 100%. Like something better than this or another episode of the show. That'd be great. Like, but like my wants to like elements of Highlander don't make this a good movie.
Yeah.
Like, I can still be like, I love Highlander. It's cool as shit. The concept's awesome. Adrian kicks ass in this movie. But like, I don't like this movie. This is stupid.
Yeah, and it's like also just not a well-made film.
Yeah.
Like, it just, which to me just heightens everything. You know what I mean? It in some ways, it takes every plot point that I have a problem with, and then when you marry it with like the jib jab heads of Connor and Duncan, to me it like amplifies those. Like it makes me feel like the people making the movie like I don't know, are insulting me a little bit. That they're like you like Highlander, so you won't notice. Like this won't bother you. We can still get your money anyway.
Well, it's good you bring that up because I think this is the perfect time to read a letter from the producers. So this was unearthed recently by our friend Ewan McNulty, who some of you may have seen on our 35th anniversary show. And so we were discussing the other day the Highlander official website from the year 2000, and here it is on the Wayback Machine. And the producers wrote a letter to the fans. And so maybe this will be the last thing we leave you with today before we move on and do some reader mail and some like second opinions and reviews from newspapers at the time, all that sort of stuff. Anyway, so the producer said, "The legend continues. Highlander Endgame. Dear Highlander fans, we feel in our hearts that with Highlander Endgame, we have delivered to you a film that is one of genuine Highlander storytelling in which we take great pride. Do not be deterred by those critics who do not understand the nature of the Highlander legend. These very same critics savaged the original Highlander classic film as being too disjointed and confusing. Together, we can keep the spirit and legend of Highlander alive by supporting this new film. Thank you, Peter Davis and Bill Panzer."
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah, right?
Not to bring politics into this, but this is like a very Trumpian letter. And that's all I'll say. But just like, that's weird. Also, like, yes, the original Highlander film was savaged. I think we can all agree unfairly.
Also because, well, a lot of those critics got a weird cut of the film, which I guess perhaps the producers would also argue happened here, but
true.
But I think their cut is weirder.
Movie, nobody has been proven wrong by savaging Highlander Endgame. I'm sorry.
Right.
Like,
well, that's very true.
Yeah.
Like, I've bought this movie multiple times on many formats. I think I am allowed to say, like, the critics were right.
Like, right. I mean, also, they're like, the critics don't understand the Highlander like legend. It's like, well, I hope I do, and I don't like this movie, so I don't know. I mean, again, to each their own. I mean, if people want to enjoy this movie, like, go crazy and enjoy it. Like, and also, if you don't agree with us, totally fine. Write us at HighlanderRewatched at gmail.com, and you can share some of the reasons you disagree, and that's fine. Like, I'm also, I hope I'm not sounding like pedantic or something, saying all this stuff, or just like, oh yeah, write us in, like, just tell us why and we don't care. Like, no, really, if you like this movie, cool. And like, don't let our unenjoyment of this movie like interfere with your enjoyment. Like, shut us off and go watch the movie and have a great time. That's fine.
True about everything. Like, you're allowed to like what you like.
Yeah.
Other people not liking it doesn't stop you from getting whatever utility you're going to get out of it.
That being said, I think we like looked at this film pretty critically over the past couple weeks. And like, I hope celebrated the things that make Highlander great, and the things that we hope a new Highlander movie can be in the future. Because, I think they just kind of missed the mark all over the place on this. As they said in that letter, they don't understand the Highlander legend. I think the people that made this movie don't understand the Highlander legend, So
there's definitely an aspect of that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, like, I watched Mortal Kombat Annihilation recently. which is
Oh, you mean the one with Christopher Lambert?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, which is similarly like kind of a cobbled together sequel mess. It's very maligned by critics, rightfully so. But I actually like thoroughly enjoyed watching it. Like I had a really great time. And like I can't say that with this movie, with Endgame. Like I like parts of it, but I'm not like having the time of my life watching it. You know what I mean?
Well, significant question here. You could, just because you brought up Mortal Kombat as an example, I don't know what your personal level of attachment to Mortal Kombat is. Mine is, I don't know, low, I guess.
Yeah,
I say as someone who really
too.
likes Mortal Kombat and has lost a lot of hours to Mortal Kombat games over my days, like whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Does that increase your ability to enjoy a movie like Mortal Kombat Annihilation? Is the fact that we are so close to Highlander part of what upsets us so much about this? Like, are we actually being unobjective because of our level of like knowledge and scrutiny to the rest of the source material?
That's a good question. Yeah, I wasn't overly attached to Mortal Kombat. I had some like childhood fondness for the characters, but I'm by no means an expert. So that's a good point. That could be a factor.
I don't know how to factor that in, but it's something we should acknowledge. Like, are we being a little protective of this thing in a way that we maybe would be? We're all people who also enjoy bad movies.
Oh yeah,
that is a true fact about the people in this call, and yet something, even if this is a bad movie as we allege, something stopped us from getting like genuine joy out of it. It would seem, and what is that thing?
Cobbled together gobbledygook.
So a thing for us to perhaps meditate on.
I suppose so. I mean, I think I can acknowledge the things that like I probably am a little hung up on, but like that doesn't erase some of the other stuff though. Like, you know, like I think we've tried to look at this thing from all angles. Like, what would I be aware of? Like, we were talking about that early on in these podcasts. Like, if I had never seen Highlander before, what's the scene? Tell me. And we were having trouble coming up with those answers. And
that's true.
You know, I don't know. Also, I mean, we'll go over some reviews in the next episode. But like those people are pretty detached from Highlander, you know, and a lot of them had seen the original. At this point, it's kind of a cult classic in the early 2000s. Yeah. Like, I think it had arrived at a place where like people knew what it was. And those people didn't find it to be that enjoyable either. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I have a question, like, not to go back too far, but like, Till the Day We Are Reborn, what's that about, huh?
I mean, it's one of many teased and abandoned themes in this movie, like all the religious stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, isn't she reborn when Duncan horribly...
See, like, all right, so I'm going to rant and rave about some stuff real quick, as I want to do on this show. But so I think our original Highlander podcast is pretty good. And I hope we gave people a good way to like look at the film. Right. And I think one of the things we talked about in those reviews was that like, there can be only one is like a more dynamic line than what it appears. Right. It is not just like the rule of the game. Like there seemed to be a thing about balance and oneness with nature, right? And like, and also then there's this like meta level of stuff where like, oh, all these like souls are coming together into one person, right? Like so there's something like interesting about that line, right? And I feel like Till the Day We Are Reborn has that like potential, like so much of this movie does. Like Till the Day We Are Reborn has the potential to be like there can be only one sort of unifying line to this movie. Like it can be about like, hey, she's physically reborn when she's stabbed. There can be some element of like, well, can you change who you are? Like, how are you reborn as a person? Does Connor get reborn and have to like take on a new life and like all these like things? And like, it's not a theme of the movie at all.
Nope.
Likewise, the thing we did talk about was this notion of like Kell being like the Antichrist. And we haven't like summed that up too much. I think that's awesome in this movie. Like to me, also that seems to be a cool follow-up to the symbolism in Highlander 1, which is like there's a white dragon, a black dragon, like this, I don't know, this duality thing that's going on. Connor definitely seems to be a Christ figure in the first one. Like he poses in a Christ pose a lot. I think some of the other things, like they even say like God fights on our side, and it's in reference to Connor. It's pretty cool stuff. And to have like Kell be like, oh, he's the opposite of that. And Kyle, you mentioned like that he's like religious and is it this twisted like reversal thing? Like all this stuff is really cool. And I feel like that's not explored at all. Like, or it's not given. That should be like the driving force to like the narrative is like, is he the Antichrist? And like, what do these things represent? Like, I don't know. I never feel like this is about a battle between good and evil. Like
Kell just fizzles out as a bad guy. Like they set up all these kind of weird, almost threads, but then it's like, no, he's just obsessed with getting revenge on Connor and he's crazy and evil and he'll just do bad things.
Yeah, there's just not enough there.
Mm-hmm.
Like the motive being just for dubious reasons he wants to kill Connor. It does not intrigue me at all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well,
This
like
drug.
Yeah, all the cool stuff they like kind of set up about him like doesn't pay off.
No. And they also have this neat element that they come from the same village, which is cool. Like once again, like the show dealt with philosophy more than this obviously is dealing with.
Right.
But like, what about that? Like what made Connor believe people can change and like live a good life, yada, yada, yada. Like both these people came from the same place, but like their lives went in different directions. Like that's something this movie could be about, like following them through time. But no.
Well, yeah, and they're all hot, like they're all Highlanders. Like,
right.
Yeah. And like for some reason, this guy becomes like maniacally evil when his starting point is perhaps as like a decent enough priest, right?
Yeah.
And he seems to like in at least one of the cuts, he seems to be like sorrowful about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. He like I think we're supposed to believe that when this movie, like not when the movie opens, but when chronologically we see him for the first time, that he is like, for lack of a better term, a good man.
Yeah.
When this opens. And then that becomes no longer the case, I guess.
And he becomes like a Kurgan clone.
Yes.
That's the other issue with these movies, and I don't know if it's a producer thing, but like the bad guy is always like just like a kooky bad guy.
Yeah.
Like, who just does bad things for no reason.
Again, crazy. They had
He's
six
wacky.
years of a TV show with different villains that showed that you could have captivating people. And they forgot about that. Whoops.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yikes. All right, let's wrap it up. Eamon, how many Last Suppers would you give this movie?
Ooh, so I will give this 2.5.
2.5.
2.5 Last Suppers.
Interesting. I'm very curious if that is higher or lower than the other movie reviews we did.
Ooh, I actually don't remember.
I don't remember either.
Me neither.
That's spooky. Kyle, how many like bubbly quickening faces would you would you give this movie?
This gets 1.5 bubbly quickening faces, baby.
All right.
Yeah, this movie is just such a letdown. Like, I feel it in my bones. It's that how disappointed I think I end up being by this movie when you view it in retrospect, just because it's all just laced with this poisonous knowledge that it didn't have to be this way. You know what I mean? And I honestly think almost every step of the way, maybe it's not the story I would have wanted to tell, but with relatively minor changes, most of what they tried to do here could have worked. Like most of it could have landed, and instead it's just kind of insulting and like slipshod and confusing and at times like actually angering.
Yeah.
And I just have a hard time. Like I would rather throw on Highlander 2. I would rather throw on Highlander 3 than watch this movie.
I like both those movies more than this movie.
Yeah,
and that is a hard pill to swallow, because I think Adrian Paul does great in this movie. And I love Duncan. And I think he's working very hard. So it like pains me to say it, but like, because like he's my Highlander, he's my dude, and it just does not fly.
Yeah. Wow.
All right, Keith. How many 80-yard deleted scenes would you give this movie?
Sadly, less than the movie contains. I'm giving this, I think, a 1. I'm giving it a 1.
Oh.
1, baby.
Yeah, Kyle, I'm glad you brought up Highlander 2. I'll incorporate that into my final thoughts. You know, like, it's funny, we don't like Highlander 2, but for a variety of like completely different reasons, right? Like Highlander 2, like there's just story choices that like it's like that's crazy, right? Like that they're aliens or whatever. But like I never
that
think
there's a science fiction dome, or,
right? Like it's like to me, I'm just like they made a movie on the wrong foot. Like they just got off on the wrong page, right? Got off on the wrong page. What am I talking?
Yep, they got off on the wrong page.
So, but like at no point in that movie am I like, where are we? Who's talking to who? Is that even the actor's voice? Like those sort of things. Also, like there's some really great I mean, there's all sorts of good stuff in that movie too. Overall, much like Highlander Endgame, I can appreciate all the cool stuff in that movie. But I'm like, yeah, it's not a very good movie. But like Russell McKay, I think, directs the shit out of Highlander 2. And they have a lot of problems, but there's like some really cool beats in that. There's some like iconic imagery, which is cool. It's kind of all out of left field, which is why it makes it so strange. You know, and people have often said that like, well, if it wasn't a Highlander movie, it'd be a lot better. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not like the problem this movie has. This movie is broken. Like the story doesn't quite make sense. Like the editing and directing, it's just like it's all over the place. And it's really just a shame. I don't know. So I think we haven't seen The Source in a very long time. I am very excited to see that. But this is like, for me, maybe my least favorite Highlander movie, which is a bummer. I don't know. I actually like I think like the look of Highlander 3 is pretty cool too. Like there's some great sequences in that.
Yeah.
And I wish I had like better stuff to say about this movie. Like I wish there was more stuff I could pull and be like, oh, that scene is so cool. Like at least there was that cool like car chase or this or whatever. I don't know. I don't feel like it has it.
And also, like, we enjoy quoting Highlander 3 fairly often. Do you think we're going to be, like, pulling quotes from this movie?
Nope.
Like,
you want a hot dog? The first line of this movie?
Yeah, like, we're not, like, we don't even have good jokes about it. Maybe that's our fault. Like, maybe we should have been funnier over the last bajillion episodes. But, like, I just don't even feel like I've got anything in the chamber, like, as a result of this movie.
Let my man Jin K handle it?
Yeah.
Is that something?
Yeah.
Thanks, Damon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dash. Well, this has made me check out the full Damon Dash film catalog. No, I'm just kidding.
Wouldn't that be great?
The Woodsman and all that stuff.
Yeah. What an uplifting film. The Woodsman.
Yeah.
About pedophiles.
Starring the Hollow Man himself.
The Hollow Man himself.
Very Hollow Man.
Kevin Bacon.
That's right. All right. Well, I hope everyone's enjoyed our so far 9 episodes. So we are doing more. We're going to be talking about the reviews of the time, second opinions, which are very fun. And of course, reader mail. And again, I'm sure people have a lot of opinions on our coverage of this movie, and maybe we got some stuff wrong. Maybe we missed some stuff. Maybe you got some cool trivia to share. Write us at HighlanderRewatch@gmail.com. And we will do our best to read as many of those emails on the air or parts of them and all that sort of stuff. So stay tuned for some more Endgame coverage. It's not over yet. So we can't wait.
Never was.
Yep. It's all Endgame from now on. Wow. Great. Anyway, thanks everybody. We've been your Rewatchers. I'm Keith.
This is Kyle.
This is Eamon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.